stood in the sleek conference room of Carter's Custom Designs, the furniture business I'd poured my soul into for a decade, watching my parents hand my brother Ethan a crystal plaque engraved with CEO of the Year. The room, perched on the top floor of our Seattle headquarters, buzzed with employees, investors, and local media, all clapping for Ethan's visionary leadership. My vision, my late nights drafting prototypes, my pitches to secure our first major contract with a national retailer, none of it mentioned. "He's the face of the company, sweetie," my mother had said months earlier, waving off my frustration as she adjusted Ethan's tie before a photo shoot. "You're better behind the scenes." The words burned, but what stung more was the betrayal. They'd promised me the CEO role, then gave it to my younger brother, who'd barely shown up until the profits rolled in. Growing up in Tacoma, Ethan was the charming one, the kid who could talk his way out of anything. I was the workhorse, sketching furniture designs in my high school notebooks while Ethan partied. When our parents' small carpentry shop started failing, I dropped out of college to save it. I taught myself supply chain logistics, redesigned our product line, and landed a deal with a Portland boutique chain that put us on the map. Ethan? He was backpacking in Europe, funded by our parents' emergency savings. By the time he returned, I'd turned the shop into a thriving business with a sleek Seattle office. Yet, when investors came calling, my parents insisted Ethan take the lead. "He's got the charisma," my father said, as if my 80-hour weeks meant nothing. The CEO announcement was the final straw. They'd sat me down in our old Tacoma living room, the same one where I'd sketched my first bestseller, a mid-century inspired dining table. "Ethan's better suited to lead publicly," my mother said, avoiding my eyes. "You're so good at the details, Lila." Details? I'd built the entire company. My hands shook as I asked, "What about the promise you made me?" My father shrugged. "Business is business, Lila. Ethan's the brand now." They didn't even blink when I mentioned my $200,000 in personal loans to keep the company afloat during lean years, loans they'd paid off for Ethan's MBA without question. The ceremony was at our flagship store's grand opening in downtown Seattle. A banner screamed, "Ethan Carter, leading the future of design." My name was nowhere, though every chair and table on display bore my signature style. I wore a tailored black blazer, forcing a smile as colleagues congratulated Ethan, oblivious to my role. My stomach twisted, but I wasn't there to sulk. I had a plan, one I'd been crafting since I overheard my parents plotting to ease me into a supporting role. Months earlier, I'd connected with Lila Marquez, a venture capitalist who'd noticed my designs at a trade show. Unlike my family, she saw my talent. We'd been quietly working on a side project, a new furniture line, Lila Marquez Designs, set to launch independently. Elena had secured funding, and I designed a collection that was already generating buzz. Most importantly, I'd retained full ownership of my intellectual property from Carter Quizelle, something my parents hadn't noticed when they rushed to trademark everything under Ethan's name. Tonight, Elena was here, ready to make it official. As Ethan took the podium, waxing poetic about his vision, I caught Elena's eye. She nodded subtly. My parents, beaming beside Ethan, didn't see it coming. After his speech, Elena stood, her presence commanding silence. "I'd like to share some news," she said, her voice crisp. Lila Carter, the true creative force behind Carter's Custom Designs, is launching Lila Marquez Designs. Her innovative work has already secured a $5 million investment, and her collection will debut at New York Design Week next month. The room gasped. My parents' faces froze, their smiles cracking. "Additionally," Elena continued, "Lila's designs, which account for 90% of Carter's revenue, are her intellectual property. She's generously licensing them to Carter's, for now." The applause was deafening, but I barely heard it. My parents' eyes darted to me, panic replacing pride. Ethan, for once, looked small, his charm useless against the truth. Investors swarmed me, asking about my new venture. One whispered, "We always knew it was you." My designs were mine again, and Carter's would either pay to use them or crumble without my work. Later, my parents cornered me near the bar. "Lila, how could you?" my mother whispered, tears in her eyes. This was Ethan's night. I met her gaze. "You made it Ethan's night. You made it Ethan's company. I built it, and you gave it away." My father stammered, "We thought you were happy in the background." I shook my head. "You thought I'd stay quiet. I'm done with that." Elena approached, contract in hand. "Ready to sign?" she asked. I nodded, signing my name to a future I'd built myself. Across the room, Ethan clutched his plaque, his face pale. My parents stood frozen, realizing too late that their favoritism had cost them the one person who'd made their empire possible. As I left the store, the Seattle skyline glittering behind me, I felt free. Lila Marquez Designs was my legacy now, and no one could take it away.